none of that came out because I was muted the entire time. Carolina Panthers, not a great game. The Carolina Hurricanes, a little bit better, and a lot more coming up soon.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? Sorry about all that. Man, that was a rough start to this episode. I think maybe I'm little bit hangry. It's about dinner time here, and I haven't had anything, so maybe a little bit of that Planet Jerky would be pretty good right about now. Anyway, so I got a good episode here for everybody. We'll get in here and talk a little bit about the Carolina Panthers. What I had meant to kick the episode off with, the intro off with, was the Carolina Panthers suck again. But they don't really, because they were playing better. If you still looked at a lot of their metrics where they sat across the league in a lot of the major areas, average points, defensive efficiencies, things like that, you would see that they're still sitting, even with the last 4 or 5 games that have been a lot tighter, cover spread on those games, still kind of sitting there at the bottom. So not exactly on the hot, let's see, not exactly a standout team. Certainly a team on the mend and on the kind of progressing in the right direction. But this Sunday, obviously, for those who took it in, step backwards in a lot of ways. We saw a lot of, I think, mixed Bryce Young on Sunday. So there were certainly moments that looked a lot like Bryce Young from weeks 1 and 2. A couple of interceptions, key ones late, I thought, in particular. Interception where Bryce Young was throwing to Adam Thielen, who's coming up the left seam, and Bryce Young just basically underthrew him. He couldn't get the ball down, push the ball far enough down the field, and defender undercut the route and got an easy pick on that. Couple of fumbles. We've seen a lot of that from Bryce Young last season in particular. A lot of fumble sacks where, in my opinion, I've talked about this before, dude's just a little too small for the NFL. And when you're getting hit by bigger dudes and you're a little bit smaller framed, I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for you to hang on to the ball. I think that showed up a lot in last season in particular. And this season has been a lot better, to be honest, to be fair. But this Sunday, it popped back up again. And, going into this game, I had high hopes. Like a lot of people, they were, favored to win a game for the first time since 2022. So over 2 years, I think it was, I can't remember, 37 games, I think it's been since they were favored to win. So, a lot of high hopes going in. But in the back of my head, I was definitely concerned if this Cowboys defense could kind of put things together. Micah Parsons, really could get the better of our tackles and get to Young, really frustrate him, get him back on his heels, and kind of frustrate and push him into mistakes that he's made in the past. And really, I think that kind of showed up in this game. There was close out the first half, tight game in the first half, closed it out with a monster pass to Jalen Coker. Still, even with that pass, underthrown. Coker had to slow down on his route and still reach behind him, turn and catch the ball behind him, even after slowing down. So not trusting personally the arm strength of Bryce Young. Seeing this, all the time last year. I've seen it to pick up over his last few games where he was playing a lot better, especially coming over the middle. He's got some pretty decent zip over the middle on these intermediate routes, but on these deep shots down the sideline, there's just a lot of times really don't see it where it looks like he has to loft the ball to get any kind of distance on it, to get to push the ball down the field. When you got that kind of trajectory that you have to utilize to push the ball down the field, it only it creates hang time, and with hang time comes defensive adjustments in midair, and defenders can get up under there and have a better shot at defending those types of passes. So not exactly the kind of deep passing that you want to see. You want to see someone who can really push it, as they say, put it on a rope and get it into the receiver down the sideline as quickly as possible. So haven't seen a lot of that to begin with, and saw a lot of that kind of thing really get back in and pester Bryce Young and the Panthers on Sunday. In addition to that, Carolina defense took a serious backslide. No, they haven't been playing tremendously well the last few weeks, but they had picked up their game a little bit. They were getting more pressures on the quarterback. Sack rate was up significantly. Run defense still wasn't great. We saw a lot of that, kind of crop up in their last few games, particularly against Kansas, I think, if I recall. Not a great run defense. And then definitely against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay just kind of Bucky Irving just kind of did whatever he wanted to, especially late when Tampa needed to kind of like try to seal that. I mean, Tampa's game-winning drive was as many rushes as there were passes. So because they were able to pick up chunk yards and pick up a lot of ground on the ground against this defense. And for Dallas, it was no different. Dowdle with a really great game. Ezekiel Elliott came in, spelled them late. Really helped one key drive for them. I think Elliott ran 3 times in a row, 3 downs, 3 times in a row, and picked up the first down. 3-4 yards each rush, and he was able to kind of power in that first down, keep the possession there for Dallas, and help them kind of run out and dwindle out that clock against the Panthers. So you see there, Dallas 211 yards on the ground. That's just not acceptable. Like, you're not going to win very many games if you're giving up that kind of yardage on the ground. And we've seen that over the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've seen that happen, which is, for me, one of the reasons why, if Carolina continues to remain as it looks like they will, definitely in the top 10 picks, but probably in the top 5 picks, they're going to have their choice of some really good prospects. You're most likely going to see Mason Graham almost for sure on the board. Abdul Carter the edge rusher from Penn State, is probably still going to be on the board. And then you'll have Ted McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona State, or Arizona's still going to be on the board. So you're still going to have definitely those 3. You might even, if we end up with like the 3rd pick, still have Travis Hunter, the Heisman winner, wide receiver quarterback on the board. So you're going, especially if they end up into that 3rd spot, they're going to have their choice of who they want. They can beef up the offense, bolster the offense and really provide a spark there, or you can really try to work on and beef up this defense. My opinion, I think the more I see how the defense performs against the run game, the more I want Mason Graham. I know we've got Derek Brown. He's out. He's an incredible run defender. These kinds of games, certainly won't happen. But the fact that he is out, to me, makes it all the more apparent that we need somebody else to come in when he's not there, or better yet, just be there anyway to back him up. Either spell each other or be out, on obvious rush downs to just really kind of bolster that line. So Mason Graham, to me, might have a slight edge in this contest. I'm also not opposed to, seeing someone like Abdul Carter. Of course, this is all predicated on what they do in the offseason. I also would not mind seeing, a little more offensive firepower. Go and get like Ted McMillan. Pair him up. Hopefully Xavier Legette works out some of his drop issues that he's had over the last few games. Gets in the offseason, gets to work on that. You see Jalen Coker come along and continue to develop and perform really well, I think. Adam Thielen, I think, will still be around for another year, but kind of he's toward the end there. There's no denying that. So you see a really good wide receiver room of McMillan, Legette, and Coker, and maybe another 1 or 2 guys in there to develop along with Bryce Young next season. And then the season after that, I think depending on if Bryce Young can pick things up, you could really see a tremendous wide receiver room between the 3 of those guys, and then a couple of other playmakers in there as well. You throw in Sanders, he'll be getting a lot better. Tommy Trimble, I think, will also be, kind of one of those sneaky threats that crops up in the end zone every now and then when you're not expecting it. So I think if you go for someone like McMillan, you could really make this passing game, or at least wide receiver room part of the passing game, a real weapon. So there's that too. Or then you can go for someone like Travis Hunter, the two-way player. Obviously, not probably going to play him both ways on the pro level. But if you want to bring him in as a wide receiver, throw him in as a cornerback now and then just to mix up your defensive look or scheme. Or if you wanted to do it the other way around and have him play primarily corner, I think a lot of people who followed him this season, especially over this past season, have seen a bigger improvement on the defensive side to where he might be a better corner at this point than he is a wide receiver. You might bring him in and play him, opposite J.C. Horn, and then have Mike Jackson in there as well, and work a little bit on the safeties. Look for some safety help in the draft too, and really improve the secondary, which an improved secondary could kind of help you with your defensive line, especially in your pass rush and in your ability to get to and affect the quarterback by tight coverage. So you put Hunter in there opposite Horn, you have two really locked down solid corners out there, and then occasionally throw Hunter in on a couple offensive play sets and kind of mix it up and put his wide receiver talents to work every now and then. I mean, that is completely possible, not entirely unheard of. So a lot to take away from this game against Dallas. Most of it not that great. Most of it kind of forcing what Carolina Panther fans, I think, are used to in December, forcing a look towards the draft here coming up in the spring, and starting to really take a harder look, especially as we enter some of the bowl games in college at the different prospects that'll be coming out. Hopefully I'll be able to do sometime on maybe the Senior Bowl in an episode coming up, looking at potential prospects for the Panthers and see who should be on our radar and who we should be really looking at in the draft. So with that, let's kind of sneak over, look at what's going on with the Carolina Hurricanes. We've talked a lot about them and their offensive prowess and how well they've been able to perform, really kind of predicated on their ability to score goals. And I think we kind of saw that come back in here recently, or here against the Columbus Blue Jackets in particular. I think last episode we were talking about they were going to be going up against the Senators. And then after that, they were looking at playing San Jose Sharks. Senators, no goals for the Hurricanes. Got shut out, ended up losing 0-3. And then the Sharks, 3-2, they got the win. So, we've talked about how when they get those 4-goal type games, pretty good chance they're going to get the win. But this was, a good example. Them, despite not getting the 4 goals, only needing 3, still got the win. So a nice effort there. But then against the Columbus Blue Jackets, we saw them back to what we've expected. 4 goals there. Got out to a really hot start in the first period. Got 2 goals in early, despite having to kill 3 penalties in the first period. So able to work really well there. And then, as I mentioned, or tried to mention in the intro, but had muted myself inadvertently, I got a new goalkeeper, Dustin Tokarski. I practiced that thing for like 5 minutes here before I got started. Dustin Tokarski, coming over from the American Hockey League, where he played for Chicago. Makes his first start in the NHL. And what was that? 22 months. Yep. Sorry, just stealing some stats from the ESPN. Makes his first start, provides a nice spark there in the goal. We talked about last time that over the last few games, the Hurricanes, they've had some injuries to their goalies. They've been giving up quite a few goals as a result, I think. Usually on the order of 3 or more goals a game. But Tokarski came in today or night, played a great game in the net, saved against have 4 saves against those 3 penalty kills in the first period. Really kind of helped lead the way for the Hurricanes, help boost them to that 2-0 lead in the first period. Hurricanes kind of went on from there, another couple of goals, one in each period to close out the game, and put the Blue Jackets away for a nice win. So great job there to the Hurricanes, kind of getting back in the win column. Got 2 out of their last 3 now, kind of keeping pace there in the division. Still sitting at 3rd in the division, but still got plenty of time to make a push, get back up there to the top before playoff time here in the spring. Here coming up in the early spring. Next game for them, we're looking at the New York Islanders. Had played them several games ago. Was a pretty bad loss to them, but we'll be hosting them tomorrow night. They're in Raleigh, so looks to be a good game. Hopefully a nice payback game there for the Hurricanes, and they can continue to win. Hope Tokarski can continue to have a good game there in the goal. All right, let's move on a little bit more here. Let's bring it back to Charlotte. Look a little bit at the Charlotte Hornets, see how things have been going for them. Newsflash, surprise, not surprise. It's not been going very great. But Charlotte continues to battle. They're still dealing with plenty of injuries here, and we'll be looking to hopefully get some better updates. They got a couple of players back, but still waiting on Ball to come back. Ball to come back. Their leading scorer, 3rd leading scorer in the NBA as well. You get him back in these situations, and a lot of these games probably a little bit closer. And maybe even help flip a couple of the games into wins. But this last game here against Chicago, I think we talked about last time, the Hornets got a nice win against Indianapolis. They took them out 109-95. Chicago flipped the script immediately on them and beat Charlotte 109-95. So tough flip there for Charlotte on the receiving end from the Chicago Bulls there in Chicago, where Chicago got out early and strong. The first half, looks like they're up by 15 points. And then from there, Charlotte battled them pretty even there in the second half, but unable to really put a dent into Chicago's lead. Try to make a couple of little runs, little pushes. Each time Chicago was able to just kind of fend it off and maintain that lead and ended up closing out the game with the lead they went into the half with. Won it by 16, and really kind of a tough loss there for the Hornets. Brandon Miller, again, kind of leading the way for Charlotte in the absence of Ball. He had 21 points. And you had, some more support. Mark Williams, Miles Bridges back at it with 14 points. I think we talked about him a while back, that consummate 6-man. He's back in it, doing his part in the game. But again, just not enough for Charlotte. They do manage to continue to stay ahead of Washington, who's sitting at abysmal 3-21. Charlotte at 7-18. Let's really hope that here coming up, what do they got next? The 76ers also sitting at, I think it's 7-18 as well. Let's see what we got here real quick. But they play tonight against the 76ers. So, once you get done listening to me chatter on, maybe turn it over 7 p.m. Yep, right after this. 7-16 76ers versus 7-18 Charlotte Hornets. Now, that doesn't sound like the greatest way to spend your Monday night, but there are worse things to do. If you're a Hornets fan, I'm sure the opportunity to sneak a nice win in here and hopefully take them down would be a good game. 76 was one of the last two, though. First one in overtime. second one by 2 in overtime, second one by 6. So these have been close games. They're competitive. So if you're looking for, fun competitive game, then definitely tune in there to see the Hornets tonight against the 76ers. All right, y'all. That kind of wraps it up for our pro updates. We'll take a quick break, check out a couple of our other stations, and then we'll get into some college football updates for you. I will be right back.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Lava.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That gives you guys spending time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Be sure to check out our other stations there on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Some great content there talking about college basketball, which we're about to talk about ourselves here in a little bit, focus on the Carolinas. But if you want to hear about all that is basketball, check out Fast Break there. And then SoCal Sports, I think I mentioned before, stationed in Southern California, San Diego for a while. So love to follow SoCal Sports, see where they're at. My wife went to San Diego State University, so big time fan for those guys out there. All right, let's talk a little bit Tar Heel football. Carolina making the big splash, I think, this week in college football when they actually hired Bill Belichick to come in to be the head coach. I think I talked about it last week, but I could talk about it again this week. Really interested to see how this plays out. My opinion, I think we're going to have a great couple of years with Belichick. 2 or 3 seasons of some really fun, probably for us anyway, winning football. I fully expect to see Carolina back in the bowl game next season. They've got a good roster. A lot of the players who have already started looking at entering the transfer portal have withdrawn their names and are coming back to Carolina to stay on board, including one of our star linebackers and the offensive lineman in particular coming back. So great to see them. Okay, are we back? It looks like we might be back. Hopefully, all right. Okay, don't know what happened there. Got kicked out of the studio for a few minutes, but I'm back. All right, so Bill Belichick in as head coach. I think there's going to be a couple of really good seasons here. Getting a lot of players back from the team. We'll have the same quarterbacks. Max Johnson should be back from injury. Jacoby Criswell, who played a pretty solid season, ought to be back as well. And looking at probably having Bryce Baker, a 4-star freshman quarterback,
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies,
And your one-timers,
you wicked wristas.
and be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
All right, let's see. We're back again for now. Still talking about the Carolina Tar Heels. Still talking a little bit about college football. I'll try to get wrapped up now. I absolutely expect to see Carolina with a winning season next year, going to a bowl game. They've got a lot of the same talent coming back, with some good talent coming in. And with Coach Belichick plenty of off seasons to get things going and get involved. And I'm back. And I'm back. This is fun. And but then after that, his name, his ability to get players prepped for the pros, going to be a huge pitch for incoming recruits, both incoming freshmen, but also that transfer portal. He's worked the free agency market, obviously, in the NFL, and I don't think the transfer portal is going to be a whole lot different for him to work. Have to appeal to college age 17, 18-year-old kids a little bit differently than, or 19-year-old kids a little bit differently than you would 28-year-old grown men. But in the end, I think it's going to be a lot of the same kind of situation that he's experienced in the pros. I think he'll be able to pull in some great talent. However, I've mentioned this before, I don't know that his current coaching style, what he's used to, pretty good success in the NFL, is really going to translate over into the college level. He's very much you motivate yourself. You show up to work. I'll put you to work. If you do the work, then great. If not, I will move on. And I don't frankly need you that much. And it's up to the player to really come with the mentality and the attitude to play. Whereas, we're talking about guys who are like 5-10 years younger than the average NFL player, obviously. And so those guys, that is probably not the kind of mindset and attitude that's really going to work with a lot of these young college players. So you may see an initial influx of players like really wanting to work for Belichick, but if he doesn't amend and like kind of update and soften basically his style, he may see a lot of those people coming in, turn right around and head right back out, because like he said, if they're not willing to do what he wants them to do, then they can leave, and they may just end up doing that. And so I think, like I said, first year, definitely back in a bowl. I would not be surprised. I'm not saying we will, but I would not be surprised to see Carolina at least in the discussion for the college football playoff, if not making a real push for the football playoff by his second year. I don't think we'll win, the national championship there, but I definitely think we have a chance to make some noise, either like on the fringes of the playoff, maybe even make it into the playoff that second, definitely third year. And then after that, his contract's not guaranteed. He's guaranteed $30 million, which gets him through his first 3 years. As a 5-year contract. I think at that point he might be interested in trying, get back one more time into the NFL, finish off that wins record. But if not, he might, by then he'll be about 75, going on 76. He may be ready to call it quits and turn the baton over to his son, which that's part of his contract as well, to follow him with his son. So then who knows what would happen after that. So 2 to 3 years, I can see a lot of success. I can also see a real nosedive coming year 3 or 4 when college players, again, 18, 19-year-old kids just kind of push back and are like, yeah, this is not what I'm here for. I'm not prepared for this kind of this method of coaching. So we'll see how it works out. Excited to see the first year or two and see what coach can do for this team. Really, hopefully, kind of shore up some of these like defense or these like mental toughness type of errors that we've seen a lot from Carolina in the past couple of seasons. Honestly. All right, we'll move on now. Let's see. We'll look at Duke football for a little bit. A little bit of news from the Duke camp. They are their standout quarterback. Malik Murphy to the transfer portal, and God dang it, man. Where is my stuff? Banners. There. Thank you. He has moved on to transfer portal, and Darian Mensah has transferred to Duke via the portal. So a big quarterback shift there. I think a lot of people probably expected Murphy really to stick around. He had was at Texas prior to coming to Duke. Had subbed in for Quentin Ewers when he was injured once. Had a pretty decent game. Came to Duke, found a real niche there, I think. Had some really good games, some up and down moments, but overall played a really good season. Got Duke to 9-3. Got them in that bowl game on January 2nd. Be playing in the Gator Bowl against the Ole Miss Rebels. But I guess decided to get out of Duke, move on to maybe a bigger school with a little bit more of a college football pedigree, where he can try maybe make a little bit more of a name for himself, get his name out there a little bit more. Unfortunate for him, with Bill Belichick now at UNC, all eyes will be on the ACC. Every UNC game that gets played, obviously the one against Duke, will garner a lot of media attention. That's all, like, Belichick's hiring, all good for the ACC. Kind of puts the ACC up, helps take them up a notch, at least in theory for now, in the college football world. Makes them maybe a more serious contender in college football than they were before. All right, moving on now from Duke. Not much going on otherwise from them in the football game, but for Clemson, they also made a little bit of noise here this last period when they actually started talking to transfer. Not a big transfer portal type of school, but here we've seen them now. Sorry, I am just struggling on this whole god dang episode. But we'll get to it. We'll get through it together. Let's do it. All right. I got Clemson. We're talking Tigers, and we are talking Will Helt from the. Sorry, I work with a guy named Will Hurt. Will Helt from Purdue, edge rusher from Purdue, taking a visit with Clemson. Very odd thing to kind of really pay attention to, given that Dabo Swinney has never taken a player through the transfer portal. A lot of people kind of point to that as a reason why we haven't seen them playing up to the same level that we've seen them in previous years. A lot of other teams need to be kind of catching up. And then once you start getting into these like top tier college football playoff type of teams, top 10 teams, before Clemson was able to keep up with them and really hang in there in these last couple of seasons, with the other teams really working through the portal to get in new players, and Clemson not doing that. They've kind of seen the talent level on Clemson slip off. So to see them hosting Edge is I don't say big news, but it's pretty good news for them to be working on that. All right, let's throw in one quick note from one of our other stations, and then I will get back into it with a little bit of college basketball. I got a couple of quick good updates, I feel, there. And but first, let's just listen to one of our other stations.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter at any time. Be happy to reply. Always want to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Carolina Sports Update on IE Sports Radio Network, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's get back into some college action. This time we're talking college basketball. I'm looking at the Carolinas. UNC with a pretty solid game against LaSalle. Exactly how you expected this game to go. LaSalle kind of kept it close for a few minutes, but then UNC started to pull away, really pour on. Saw them coming in. Saw UNC kind of take this in bursts. They get out to about 10 points or so, kind of open up to double digits. LaSalle kind of would then kind of fight back, hang in there for a little bit. And then Carolina would burst out a couple more, go on their nice run, get out to, expand that double-digit lead out to closer to 20. And then got all the way up to as much, I think 31 points was the biggest lead I saw in this game. So really definitely kind of one of those dominant Carolina wins you want them to have against this kind of team before they move on to tougher competition here in December. Kay Tyson, transfer, come in, these last couple of seasons, Coach Hubert Davis has had some pretty good success with transfers. Last year it was Harrison, who came in, had played a tremendous season for Carolina, really took over in a couple of the games. Year before that is Manley, who came in, helped spark that run through the NCAA tournament. Helped spark that run through the NCAA tournament. So you've seen a lot of really good kind of standout transfers come in. A lot of people, I think, were hoping a similar type thing for Tyson. Has been absolutely quiet as mouse through this early part of the season. Has done almost nothing. At times been almost a liability even. I felt like watching some of these games, but this game finally had his breakout. 5 for 10 3-point shooting, 23 total points. He was a menace through the whole game. Played some great minutes for the Tar Heels. As And you got a lot of good support, good effort from the guards as well. But if you looked again, we've talked about this before. You looked at that post play and the guys down low, and not a lot of points being scored down low in the post. A lot of points scored shooting, and not a lot being laid in, driven to the basket, and that is definitely something that the Tar Heels are going to have to work on, especially coming up next. Florida Gators, I think they're ranked number 9. They'll be playing in Charlotte, so it's a pseudo home game, hopefully for the Tar Heels, but we'll see how that goes. And then again, getting deeper into some ACC play, it doesn't get any easier. LaSalle is it. It's done. The easy games are over with. It's all hard here. Every game is going to be a freaking battle for this team, as it is all the time. When you're, if you're come up a Tar Heel fan, and you've watched this team, every time ACC play opens, it doesn't matter if they're number 2 in the country or if they're number 32 in the country. Everybody wants to beat them. Everybody brings like their best game and plays as hard as they freaking can against Carolina, and it's great. And you love to see games like that. You love to see matches like that. But it's going to be tough games from here on out for this team, and unless they get a lot stiffer and a lot tougher down low, it's going to be a rough go here, I think, in the ACC for this team. When their shooting's on, it's going to be lights out. It'll be great. But there are definitely going to be those games where the shooting will not be on, and they're going to want to be able to bang it down low. And I don't think they're going to be able to cover it the way they have in the past. So we'll see how this goes. We'll shift on from the Tar Heels now, talk a little bit of Duke football, and take a look at their recent play. Also with a nice 72-46 win over Incarnate Word. This one took a while to get going for the Blue Devils. 28-21 at half. Duke only up by 7 on Incarnate Word at the halftime. Second half, completely different story. Duke blew them out of the water, 44-25. Scored almost as many points in the second half as Incarnate Word did in the entire game. So definitely a turnaround there in the second half. Duke finally kind of coming on. I think they had come off, I think 2 or 3 back-to-back games. So they were probably feeling a little sluggish, a little worn down. But once they got themselves going there in the second half, obviously there's nothing that Word could do about it. Duke's got one more game coming up. A little bit of a rush up to get things ready before they really dive in to some harder play. Looking at George Mason here on the 17th, same night as Carolina. So if you're a Blue Devils fan and you don't want to watch Carolina against Florida, you could definitely check that out and see the Blue Devils beat up on George Mason tomorrow night. All right, moving on from Duke, let's talk a little bit about NC State basketball. Playing some, pretty good basketball, to be honest. Let's won't give them too hard a time. They had their nice game here against Coppin State. I'm not 100% sure how you say that. But saw them beat Coppin State 66-56. Nice win there, but maybe they needed to work a little bit harder through that one. And then got up against Kansas University. Not much they could do against, I think, the number 1 team in the nation. But Kansas there, I think, went out on a 15-0 run to start the game and really never looked back. It was pretty much over at that point. You got to commend State, though, for not throwing it in, not giving up. They played hard and pretty much matched Kansas. Wow. From that point on. And, if you take out, you dent or, kind of prevent at uh, that 15-0 run like that, then this becomes a much more competitive game. So NC State, playing some pretty tough basketball, kind of hanging into games that you wouldn't expect them to be able to hang into this early in the like against teams like Kansas, but playing well and playing hard. So I got to give up to NC State for how they've been handling their games here recently. They have a nice little break here, followed by another kind of get ready type game against Rider on the 22nd. So I look forward to seeing them, take that W and then really dive into the meat of the season immediately following that. All right, looking now on to Wake Forest. We didn't really talk about them much in college football the last couple of weeks because they honestly, as we all know, haven't their season didn't end so great. But in college basketball, they're not doing too bad. They were idle, but they will next play James Madison. But they're sitting pretty nice right at the moment, I think, in the standings. Let's see, 8-3 overall. Hey, that's not too bad. That's sitting better than NC State, better than North Carolina, who are 7-4, 6-4, and only a game off of, or half game off of Duke. So, Wake Forest turning in some good games here, playing tough. They play tomorrow night, James Madison. Hopefully, that all intents and purposes should be another win for them. Push them up to 9-4, giving them a pretty good resume before they start into the meat of conference play here in the next couple weeks. All right, let's move on. Probably the one of, outside of Duke, one of the better teams in the Carolinas right now for basketball, and the team with perhaps the best couple of games, I think, so far, with a nice win earlier against Kentucky. And although they didn't get the win here this week against Memphis, it was definitely, probably of all these games, the best game. Really tough, hard-fought game. This was definitely a game of runs. Sports back and forth. Both teams just like laying into each other. I think Memphis, again, got out to a quick start. I think they got up 8-0 early in this game. And then Clemson started to battle back. It cut into the lead a little bit. And then Memphis would go on another run, stretch it back out to almost double digits. Clemson would kind of claw their way back in. This first half was just a battle. It was hard fought and really strong defensive effort by both teams. Second half, it opened up a little bit more. Scoring got flowing a little bit better. Clemson, again, would just keep hanging around. Memphis, despite going on some really good runs, just could not quite put them away. And Clemson would just hang in there, playing tough. And then ended up getting up late. I think it was about 1:20 left there in this game. And Clemson, I think it was Hunter for Clemson, who made a nice three-pointer. Let's see if I can get this up here. I'll get my times right. A nice three-pointer with about a minute to go in the game, with a little over a minute to go. I put Clemson up 72-60. Yeah, there it is. 1:04 left in the game. And Chase Hunter hits a three-pointer, puts Clemson up 72-60. God dang it, man. 72-67. There we go. And I thought at that point Clemson had it. Like, you got a minute left. 60 seconds is a huge amount of time in college basketball, but Memphis able to claw back in with a pair of baskets, tied it up, took it into overtime, and were able to finally close out the game in overtime. And with a pretty nice win. So hard fought game there by Clemson, and really tough loss, but probably the best game I think of this past week that we got to see. Their next opponent, oddly enough, South Carolina. They play them again tomorrow night. Busy night in college basketball. South Carolina, who just played, beat South Carolina Upstate, and we'll be looking to battle out with Clemson. That should be a pretty good game. I think Clemson will probably get the upper hand and be able to finish, be able to put that game away, but should be a pretty good match to watch. All right, y'all. It's been a helter-skelter kind of evening here. I'm a little more timely. I still want to give a quick shout out, though. I meant to this last time around, but absolutely forgot to get it done. But let's see here if I can throw up a little banner here and give a nice Carolina shout out to, first off, sorry everybody else, but yes, UNC women's soccer team, national champions for the 23rd time. So they had a national championship before there was NCAA national championship. So this marks their 23rd national championship, 22nd NCAA championship. That is more than all other schools put together. So 22 for UNC, 21 NCAA national championships for all other schools combined. Truly, I think it was Dean Smith who said that Carolina isn't a basketball school, it's a women's soccer school, and it has been for years now. I think I saw another stat since 1977. Every 4-year university student at Carolina has seen a women's national champion in soccer. So tremendous achievement. Coach at the time, up until the final game, was actually the interim coach after Dorrance had retired at the beginning of the season. Had led them as an interim coach. Was made the official head coach officially right before the championship game. Carolina took down Wake Forest in that game, 1-0 on a penalty kick, and just a tremendous game there. Tremendous achievement. And one last one from the Carolinas, Haas Formula One team out of Kannapolis, North Carolina. They finished 7th in the F1 Constructors Championship. Doesn't sound that impressive to be 7th out of 10 or 11 constructors teams. However, the last couple of seasons, Haas has finished dead last. So to move from 11th up to 7th this season was a tremendous achievement. They were in the fight for the 6th position all the way up until the end. They had really strong qualifying out of Nico Hulkenberg, I think it was. He just has some real bad car issues. But Kevin Magnussen was able to take advantage of some early confusion in that last race, get themselves ahead, get some points there, but just not enough to overcome Alpine, who had overtaken them in the constructors' standings in the previous race when Pierre Gasly for Alpine managed to finish on the podium. I think it was or 4th or 5th maybe for Alpine. Picked up a huge bundle of points there. Sent him out pretty far from Haas. Haas just not able to recover. Ended up 7th instead of 6th. Cost them, I think, about $30 million in funding for next season. But I think trending in the right way. They'll move on to next season. It's going to be an interesting season. They got Esteban Ocon coming in over from Alpine, of all places. And then we'll be fielding full-time rookie Oliver Bearman from England, who had been driving as a reserve driver with Ferrari. He came in, subbed in for Ferrari earlier this season. Did a great job with them. Subbed in for Haas for 2 races, one of which he finished in the points. So a lot of talent for that guy. First race with Haas, score points. We have seen drivers come in and race almost entire seasons for Haas and not score a single point. So for him to do it in one race speaks volumes, and hopefully they can continue to develop and come away with a strong car that's competitive next season. And these two guys can get in and really score some points, maybe even see a podium here sometime soon for Haas. All right, you guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. I am going to try to get us out of here with music, but I'm not 100% sure because with all the dropping in and out, I have lost my music. But there it is. Got it back, and I will talk to you. Tune in to IE Sports Radio Network, your direct feed for all sports. Thanks, guys.